Hello, my stars. This is a new reading format. I want to try it out and see if there are other ways that I can channel messages. I've been really inspired by faceless accounts and how incredibly beautiful and undistracted the messages can be. So there won't be any music for now. There won't be anything but my voice and just your ability to be present for the reading. So in this message that came to me, I saw a vision and it had been nagging me for about a week, this vision. I kept seeing you hanging off the side of a mountain cliff. You were furiously trying to cut yourself free. I saw this big, thick red cord. It was a rope or something stronger than a rope or a cord. And you were sawing through it with your knife. There was this desperation in your energy and you kept looking up. I could see that the cord was connected to someone above you. Someone that you had pedestaled. You had this connection with someone that for a very long time, in the perspective of a mountain, they were further along than you on your own journey. Or at least that's how you perceive them. I don't think that every perception is actually accurate. I think that the metaphor here just displays how much above that you've always felt that they are. And suddenly you have this urge, even though you both have climbed up this mountain together, you suddenly feel the need to cut yourself free. As the vision goes further, when you cut yourself free, there is a sense of weightlessness that happens as you free fall into the mist, into the fog. And the reason I wanted to tell you about this vision, this story, is because you had so much fear. There's someone in your energy right now who really has had a grip on you. They've had a hold on you for a long time. This is not necessarily someone who is in your life actively. Let's just think of them as someone who comes in and out, perhaps over the years or over the months, or they come in and out of your mind or in and out of your life. They're not super present all the time, but I get the sense that when they are near, your reactions and your actions completely change. The version of you that, whether you have built yourself to be something or not, kind of shifts back in time to meet this person on this level. You have all these memories, these very fond memories with this person. Yet I got the sense that you had a very hard time expressing your feelings or even your love for this person. And this person may have also held things back too. I see a version of them in this Six of Cups card where they are hanging onto a frog. And I get the metaphor of the frog in the throat. Like there's something they've always wanted to tell you, but it always felt like someone was watching you too. So this is a connection that felt forbidden or felt like you couldn't pursue. And though you had a lot of joyful times together, you just felt like there was nothing you could take action on. You couldn't say the word you wanted to say, even though you felt it. However, I get the sense that you have a feeling of entrapment when you're around this person. Like, I don't want to be trapped back in that place again where I feel like I can't say anything or I can't be myself. So I get the sense that the progression of your relationship has not been able to get past whatever this forbidden element is. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be you're in other relationships, it could be responsibilities, it could be you work at the same place. As I return to the imagery of you on the mountain, how they were above you, you had always had this feeling that this person was above you. You always had a feeling that this person was somehow more talented than you or more sophisticated or perhaps just more well off. There's something where you had a sense of appreciation. It wasn't so much envy. It was just, I want that in my life too. Or I want that with you. Now, in this Eight of Swords energy that you have been trapped in, it's led you to reflect on your past times together and the road that is now before you. We have the Two of Wands here coming in to talk about the choice that you have to make. Will you continue on the road with them or will you part ways? You've always known that this choice was here. It's always been inevitable. I also hear that you've already chosen the path to depart, but for some reason, the energy comes back. The person comes back, the connection. I'm hearing Celine Dion's, "It's all coming back to me now." But you have a choice now, a new choice to make, something different. I got the answer that sometimes no is the most loving response. To say no, to cut the cord. And there's a reason. You feel a lot of desperation, a need to cut this cord, because this person, while you have a lot of beautiful past times, there's a sense that when you're around this person, you feel trapped, you feel caged, like a wild animal. You feel repressed. All of this anxiety, I'm getting this energy of anxiety because I see a rabbit and the heart beating very fast. While you do have the sense of your heart beating very fast because of attraction and having your feelings reciprocated, there is also the sense that you cannot leave until the reciprocation happens. But for some reason, this person is always in conflict about you. So you have these feelings for a reason. They are present because this person has been long in conflict about you for a very long time. They bury it. They bury the conflict. They pretend the conflict isn't there, but the conflict is there nonetheless. When you cut yourself free from this person, when you make that choice, and you will, and it's hard to say because I know deep down, based off of the feelings and the emotions here, that you wish there could be a happy ending. And you also want to hold on to those memories that you had together, or you want to hold on to the feeling that this person brought to your life. But their inaction, their inability to open up and tell you how they really feel, and their conflict about it, perhaps conflict about the forbidden scenario that you find yourself in, whatever prevents you from expressing yourselves to each other. All of these things lead to your feeling energetically and mentally trapped. What's interesting is that this entrapment you feel is actually this person's energy. They're also feeling trapped. They also feel like they cannot make a decision. They don't know what to do. They're just going to bury it and pretend that it's not there. So there are two paths. And the path that you will inevitably choose is the one where you cut yourself free from the rope. No matter what happens with your relationship with this person, it needs to be transformed. And the reason why is because I see in their energy, a deep transformation happens once you make the choice to change. They might even begin to express themselves a little, but it takes a long road. It's a long journey. You will begin to actually feel at peace. You will begin to see your fears differently. You'll begin to actually love yourself and love your path and love your choices once you are able to cut yourself free of their energy, cut yourself free of your ties to this person. I saw in the vision as you cut yourself free, you fell from the mountain, you free fell from the mountain and into a mist below. The mist represented the unknown. It represented you disappearing. You disappeared from this person's life. But also the entrapment that you felt disappeared. And there was a sense of freedom. Even though I could no longer see you, I knew that you had found your place in the unknown. You had found your place in this wandering, in this being lost, in this being let go. You found your peace. You no longer had doubt about your journey, about your path. And it is this very decision that changes your life. So I looked into what happens to them once you cut the cord. What happens to your connection is there is a sense of heartbreak and sadness. But I also see that you leave this behind with a sense of hopefulness and mystery, a sense of surrender. When you surrender to this mystery, to this journey of the unknown, you are able to actually take that grief energy that you had in your heart around this connection, and you're able to create with it. You're able to create beautiful work. I noticed in their journey, as they see you cut yourself free from them, it's almost a shock. So when this person feels you cut yourself from them, it will feel shocking to them. They will try to juggle and balance and try to figure out what they could do. They might try to run after you. They might try to give you a little bit of reciprocation that you've been waiting for. But for some reason, once you decide to cut this off, you've cut it for good. This isn't like one of those situations where you block someone and then you unblock them just to see if they've responded. No, this is a very certain cutoff. So when this happens, or if it already has happened, it's very direct and it's almost final to you. You have this sense that you are saying no to the energy, not because you weren't good enough for this person or they weren't good enough for you or you couldn't wait, but that you wanted to choose your peace. You wanted to choose yourself. But there was something more to it. You knew that the energy when you were with them was not your healthiest. It was not your best. There was a contrast here that you needed to see, that once this person returned to your life for the 20th time, that you couldn't live or exist in this energy. It needed to change. This person that you had been tied to needed to change, and your cutting yourself free is the catalyst that creates deep transformation. I received the death card for them, meaning that they are about to embark on a whole trial, or going to embark through a challenge. There will be endings in their life like never before. If there was a relationship that was keeping you apart, that relationship might end, or a version of themselves, or they'll have an ego death, something that really changes their perspective and brings cycles to a final end. Now that you have journeyed through as the catalyst, and you've released yourself from over-giving and over-attaching and over-needing someone, needing their response, you're finally able to return to peace. You'll feel it in your body. Your body will begin to regulate itself. You will actually begin to enjoy your life, enjoy the comforts of your life and your present day reality. Whereas with this person, it felt like you got sucked into a tunnel or a black hole. It was because their energy needed to transform, and it was dragging you into the past. And not until you actually cut the cord with them officially can this person transform. A new cord can be formed with this person, but they are the one who is going to have to offer it, and they are going to have to be in a position where it is acceptable to you. You, however, may decide to change. You may decide to accept it on different terms, on your terms. That is the transformation that's happening here. You actually attached to this person out of fear in the past. And you will notice how scarcity and fear were perhaps the drivers of your attraction and your crush on this person. There was a sense of fear of not being reciprocated that actually created this love to be stronger than you were expecting. But now all of that can be transformed into something more concrete, unconditional, real, but without you having to sit in scarcity and lack in order to sustain or be around this person's energy. By you giving to yourself, you've activated a version of them who can actually bring something to you. Will it be enough? That's the question. But the mystery of the connection can finally enter its next era. It can finally reveal to you the answers you've been seeking. This person, for as much of a catalyst you are for this person, they were a catalyst for you. And that is one thing you cannot ignore or deny. So after you move on from this, you will embrace life with a lot more ambition and vivaciousness. There's going to be so much more aliveness in your body and in your pursuits. You're also going to be spending time learning new things and discovering more about yourself, discovering more about new topics. And this energy just feels like a renewal of sorts. Like finally you can turn your attentions to the things that are actually important to you. Whereas before, you might have been participating in a little bit of an addiction to love, or an addiction or a need to have a reciprocation of your desires, of your love. But now you actually can pour into those desires, pour your intellect, pour your wit, pour your fascination into something very personal to just you. Very beautiful energy for you to move into. If you're able to stick around to the end of this reading, I would love to have your feedback to know if this resonated with you, if this format, if there's anything you like about it. I just want to make sure that the content is nourishing and helpful for you. I think it's helpful for me to try out different formats and to experiment and not get stuck in a pattern, especially when it comes to channeling. It's very important to make sure that I'm opening up my channel in as many ways as possible. So this was a format I wanted to experiment with and try. I may add music to this eventually, but I'd really like to produce a new song. And that leads me to my last announcement. I am officially releasing a track next week through a label on Spotify and other platforms. It's just a nice vibey musical track that I produced. You actually have heard it before in a lot of my readings if you've watched any of my other channeled messages. And I wanted to officially release it since there were a lot of people who actually liked the song. So you'll actually get to hear it. Use it for meditation, use it for writing, vibing, or just flowing through your day. So I'm very excited to share that with you. I'd love to spend more time talking to you about what's going on behind the scenes. And I will see you next time, my stars.